The last section of section 1 deals with solving trigonometric equations algebraically. We have done a little bit with solving them using the unit circle. But now, what if we're not in a unit circle? Some of these examples will have that, but our last example, number 63, will be straight from any kind of angle. So it's going to be one where we'll have to use the calculator. But for now, number 51 asks us to find all the solutions to the equation in the interval 0 to 2 pi. So that means there is a finite number of solutions because we're limiting the scope of where we can look for it. And you also want to notice that we have an open interval for 2 pi, so we're not repeating any values, or so to speak, like overlapping, because any values that are true at 0 are also true at 2 pi, so it's unnecessary to include 2 pi. So what we want to do is we want to treat this like an equation that we're going to solve. So we look for like terms, we want to set our, and we want to be able to factor it, and we want to be able to set our factors equal to 0. So this example already equals 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for some like terms to simplify, to multiply, to factor, so that we have factors. And what you can see here is that we have a cosine x in the first term and a cosine x in the second term. So I'm going to factor out a cosine x. And then I will have left inside from my original expression 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0. So from that then, I do have two factors. I can set each factor equal to 0 and solve each one separately. So the one factor I have is cosine x is going to equal 0. And my other factor is going to be 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0. So to find the values of cosine x equals 0, we just need to think in the unit circle what angles have a cosine value of 0. And so in the unit circle, that happens at pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, because those two angles were on the y-axis, and the x value on the y-axis is 0, and cosine corresponds to our x value in the ordered pairs on our unit circle. So those are the two solutions for cosine x equals 0. Now to get the ones for our other factor, 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0, we'll have to solve this for sine x. So we will add the 1 and then divide by 2. So now we're looking in our interval of 0 to 2 pi of where the sine value is 1/2. What angles on the unit circle have a sine value of positive 1/2? So that is going to happen at two places, at 30 degrees or pi over 6, and then in the second quadrant at 150 degrees or 5 pi over 6. Now, since the interval was written in radians, we're going to write our solution in radians. So our answer is going to be all these angles. So we have pi over 6, pi over 2, 5 pi over 6, and 3 pi over 2. And those are our solutions in the interval 0 to 2 pi.